Then, only 14 hours later, another earthquake struck the Pacific Northwest, this time south of Seattle, with a magnitude 3.4 quake shaking the ground for several seconds, being felt by 1.5 million people. While neither of these earthquakes caused any damage, why exactly did they occur? What faults triggered them, and what might happen next? First, looking at the larger magnitude 4.8 earthquake, the scientific data which was recorded shows something unusual for the specific area. It shows that the earthquake occurred on what is known as an oblique left lateral strike oblique reverse fault slip fault. In other words, the fault line which moved was a combination of a strike-slip fault and a reverse fault. The very minor reverse fault component isn't all that unexpected given the regional compression the area is experiencing from tectonic forces, especially related to the Juan de Fuca plate subducting underneath the North American plate to the southwest. What is unusual is the major strike-slip, or horizontal rather than vertical component to the earthquake which struck. It suggests a second source of lesser regional stress, and what do you know? There are a series of known nearby parallel fault lines which have also moved in the same manner. Many but not all regional lakes, streams, and rivers happen to parallel the orientation of these major faults. Take for example the obvious offset in this lake named Glacier Lake. Moving back to the quake epicenter, I was able to spot 4 regional fault lines which appear to have created faint lineaments still visible in the landscape today, presumably because they were geologically recently active. One of these faults happens to be right unnamed fault next to where the quake epicenter occurred, and I was able to trace its exposure to a length of 4,390 meters. Assuming that this fault is indeed active and exists, it suggests that the earthquake which just struck not only occurred on a previously unknown fault of which there are many in this Cretaceous terrain-rich topography, but that the earthquake was pretty close to the maximum magnitude event this fault can produce, which I am estimating to be between 5.0 and 5.3. Tacoma Fault Line. As for the latter lesser magnitude earthquake near Seattle, that occurred on a segment of the major Tacoma Fault Line. This reverse fault line is theoretically capable of producing an up to a magnitude 7.1 earthquake, but has also produced thousands of lesser magnitude earthquakes since it has been monitored. The 3.4 which struck was only the largest quake to occur since 2013 on the Tacoma Fault Line. Neither of these two recent earthquakes were related to each other, and in my opinion they don't imply any concerning. While some aftershocks will probably occur, with aftershocks, the largest being expected to be 1.2 magnitudes lower than the main quakes, these recent events are just friendly reminders of how seismically active the Pacific Northwest still is. As a final note, I would like to thank my new patron Jim Phillips for supporting